In the vast, glittering expanse of the Luminarian star system, Princess Hyun Kim stood alone, her delicate figure a stark contrast to the grand ceremonial hall. At merely 120 centimeters tall, she was considered tiny even by her own people's standards. Her luminescent skin shimmered with a soft blue glow, a royal mark that typically signaled great pride and potential. But today only disappointment filled her heart. The galactic courtship tour had been nothing short of a humiliating journey. Planet after planet, species after species, potential mates looked down at her, both literally and figuratively. The UI, Kreltech warriors from the volcanic world of Obsidian Prime had laughed openly, their massive bodies towering over her like mountains. Their booming voices echoed through the diplomatic chamber, declaring her unsuitable for breeding. Too small, they had said. Weak. Incapable of producing strong offspring. The silicon-based life forms from the crystal planets were even more clinical. Their advanced computational systems had run complex genetic compatibility algorithms, each one ending with a cold, mechanical rejection. Hyun remembered the precise digital voice that had declared her genetic variance, 99.2% incompatible. A statement that felt like a knife cutting through her royal pride. Even the aquatic species of the Coral Nebula had dismissed her. Their representatives floating in massive water-filled chambers had simply turned away, their translucent bodies showing clear disinterest. Communication logs showed nothing but clinical rejections, each more crushing than the last. Her royal advisors tried to comfort her. They spoke of tradition, of the importance of continuing the royal lineage. But Hyun knew the truth. She was becoming a galactic joke, the tiny princess that no one wanted. The last diplomatic mission had been the most painful. The Granite Confederation, known for their massive stone-like bodies, had not even allowed her to enter their primary communication chamber. Their initial scans had been enough to reject her completely. Sitting alone in her personal quarters, Hyun felt the weight of generations pressing down on her shoulders. Her family's history was filled with powerful rulers, each standing tall and proud, making crucial galactic decisions. And here she was, a princess who seemed destined to be nothing more than a footnote in royal history. The holographic displays around her room showed her family's achievements. Her mother, towering at 180 centimeters, had negotiated critical trade agreements. Her father, even larger, had been a military strategist respected across multiple star systems. And Hyun? She was barely noticed even in her own court. Her personal AI assistant, a cold mechanical voice without emotion, continued to log the rejections. Potential mate compatibility, 0%, it would announce after each failed diplomatic meeting. Each announcement felt like another nail in the coffin of her royal expectations. The royal protocols were clear. A princess must find a mate, must continue the royal bloodline. But how could she do that when every single species in the known galaxy saw her as nothing more than a genetic mistake? Tears didn't come easily to Luminarian royalty. They were taught emotional control from birth. But in the privacy of her personal chambers, Hyun allowed herself a moment of vulnerability. Her slim fingers traced the intricate royal insignia on her uniform, a symbol of a legacy she feared she might never continue. The star map behind her showed countless worlds, countless possibilities. Yet, each world seemed to close its doors to her. She was becoming invisible, a princess without a future, a royal without a purpose. Little did Hyun know that light years away, on a small blue planet called Earth, someone was about to change. Everything she knew about rejection, compatibility, and love. Her story was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. The universe, vast and unpredictable, had plans for the tiny princess that no computer, no genetic algorithm, and no massive alien species could have ever predicted. Captain J. Park's exploration vessel drifted quietly through the dark outer regions of the Orion boundary. The ship's systems hummed softly, monitoring the endless vacuum of space. Most human crews would have felt lonely, but Jay appreciated the silence, the opportunity to observe and understand the universe's hidden mysteries. The ship's early warning sensors flickered unexpectedly. A small diplomatic shuttle appeared on the long-range scanners, its energy signature weak and unstable. Most captains would have ignored it, but something about the signal caught Jay's attention. "Computer, analyze the shuttle's identification," he commanded. The ship's AI responded quickly. "Luminarian Royal Transport experiencing significant power fluctuations. Life support systems at 42% capacity." Jay's fingers moved across the holographic control panel. Most exploration protocols suggested maintaining distance from unknown vessels, especially those from unfamiliar civilizations. But something about this shuttle felt different. "Prepare communication channels," he instructed. The first attempt received no response. The shuttle continued its slow drift, like a wounded animal in the vast space ocean. Jay noticed subtle details. The shuttle's design was elegant, clearly advanced, but currently vulnerable. A weak signal finally emerged. Broken communication fragments suggested distress. Through the static, Jay could hear a female voice. Soft, professional, but underlying her words was a sense of desperation. "This is Princess Hyun Kim of the Luminarian Royal Transport. Our primary systems are failing. Request immediate assistance." Most human captains would have hesitated. Interstellar diplomatic protocols were complex. Helping an alien royal could mean unexpected complications. But Jay was different. His years of exploration had taught him that compassion transcended species boundaries. "Prepare docking procedures," he told his crew. "We're going to assist." The rescue was delicate. The Luminarian shuttle systems were unlike anything in human technological databases. Each movement required precision, careful calculation. Jay's hands moved with practiced smoothness, guiding the rescue protocols. As the airlocks connected, Jay prepared himself. He knew nothing about Luminarian physiology, their cultural expectations, or why a royal princess was alone in this sector of space. But he knew one thing: she needed help. The inner airlock opened, and there she was. Princess Hyun was smaller than Jay expected. Her luminescent skin seemed to glow softly in the artificial light, creating an almost ethereal presence. Her royal uniform, though slightly damaged, still carried an unmistakable sense of dignity. Their eyes met. In that moment, something unexpected happened. No words were exchanged, but a profound understanding passed between them. Hyun looked tired, not just physically, but emotionally. Her eyes told a story of repeated rejections, of a journey that had broken her spirit. Jay recognized that look. He had seen it in refugee camps in war-torn regions during his early exploration missions. "Are you experiencing technical difficulties?" he asked, his voice calm and professional. Hyun's response was unexpected. Instead of the formal diplomatic language he anticipated, she simply said, "Yes, and much more than just technical." The medical team began examining her shuttle. Complex technological failures were discovered, deliberate system manipulations that suggested more than simple mechanical breakdown. Someone had systematically weakened her vessel. As Jay listened to the initial medical report, he realized this was more than a routine rescue. Princess Hyun's situation was complex, potentially involving political intrigue that stretched across multiple star systems. "We will help you," Jay told her simply. Hyun looked at him, really looked at him, for the first time. In that moment, something shifted. The universe, with all its infinite complexity, seemed to pause and take notice. A tiny princess, a human captain, an unexpected encounter that would change everything. The stars outside continued their silent dance, watching and waiting. The medical bay of Jay's exploration vessel hummed with soft technological sounds. Princess Hyun sat on a medical examination table, her small frame looking fragile against the sterile white background. Jay watched her carefully, understanding that cultural exchanges often began with simple conversations. Luminarian communication was complex. They didn't just speak words. They communicated through subtle body movements, energy shifts, and underlying emotional currents. Jay had studied multiple alien communication protocols during his exploration training, but Luminarian culture remained one of the most intricate. Tell me about your marriage customs, Jay said simply, pulling a chair closer. Hayun's luminescent skin fluctuated slightly, a response that suggested both surprise and potential vulnerability. Her people valued direct communication, but they also appreciated emotional nuance. She explained the Luminarian royal marriage system. Each royal member must find a mate whose physical characteristics matched specific genetic parameters. Size, strength, energy output, and genetic compatibility were measured with mathematical precision. Emotional connection ranked lower in their complex selection process. In our culture, Hayun said, her voice soft but clear, love is a calculated arrangement. Reproduction is a scientific process, not an emotional journey. Jay listened carefully. Human relationships were fundamentally different. Love for humans was messy, unpredictable, driven by emotions that couldn't be easily measured or calculated. Humans believe differently, he responded. We value connection beyond physical measurements. To demonstrate, Jay shared stories from human history. Tales of couples who had overcome significant differences, cultural, physical, societal. He spoke of partnerships built on mutual respect, shared dreams, and emotional understanding. Hayun found these stories fascinating. Her scientific mind began analyzing them, searching for logical patterns. But beneath her analytical approach, something else was happening. She was experiencing emotional curiosity. The ship's cultural database became their shared exploration ground. They discussed relationship dynamics, societal expectations, and the complex ways different species understood connection. Luminarian records showed centuries of precise mate selection. Genetic lines were carefully maintained with minimal emotional involvement. Each royal marriage was essentially a sophisticated biological transaction. Human records presented a dramatically different narrative. Love stories where physical differences meant nothing. Relationships built on understanding, respect, shared values. In human culture, Jay explained, we believe that true compatibility comes from emotional intelligence, not just physical measurements. Hayun's skin began changing colors, a luminarian response indicating deep internal processing. She was literally absorbing this new perspective, her biological system reflecting her mental exploration. Their conversations continued for hours. The medical team observed silently, recognizing something unique was happening. This wasn't just a diplomatic interaction. Something deeper was emerging. Hayun learned that humans saw diversity as strength. Physical differences were celebrated, not eliminated. Genetic variations were viewed as beautiful, not problematic. Each difference was an opportunity for growth, not a barrier. Jay shared personal stories, his own family's history of mixed cultural backgrounds, how his grandparents had come from different countries, different traditions, yet built a strong, loving relationship. For the first time, Hayun understood that compatibility wasn't about perfect mathematical calculations. It was about understanding, respect, and genuine connection. Her royal training had prepared her for diplomatic negotiations, but nothing had prepared her for this, a genuine human perspective on relationships. As their conversation continued, something remarkable happened. The rigid Luminarian princess began to see the world differently. Her scientific mind, once completely focused on precision and calculation, started understanding the beauty of emotional complexity. Jay watched her transformation, not as a diplomatic mission, but as a genuine human moment of cross-cultural understanding. Outside, the ship's window stars continued their silent journey, witnessing a connection that defied traditional understanding. A human and a Luminarian princess, discovering something profound about connection, love, and mutual respect. The universe, vast and mysterious, seemed to smile. The Luminarian High Council chamber was a marvel of technological precision. Massive holographic displays surrounded circular platforms where council members sat, their imposing figures representing centuries of rigid tradition. At the center stood Hayun and Jay, Looking small but determined against the grand backdrop of galactic bureaucracy, we present a revolutionary perspective on interspecies relationship dynamics, Hayun began, her voice clear and confident. The council members exchanged skeptical glances. Luminarian protocols had remained unchanged for thousands of years. The idea that a tiny princess and a human captain could challenge these deeply rooted traditions seemed absurd. Jay activated the holographic presentation. Complex data streams began flowing, comparative studies of relationship success across different species. Human relationship models showed something unique, emotional compatibility that transcended physical limitations. Our research demonstrates, Jay explained, that genetic matching is not the only measure of successful partnership. The oldest council member, a towering figure with crystalline skin, leaned forward. His voice was a low rumble that vibrated through the chamber. Explain, Hayun. Stepped forward. She shared her personal journey, the repeated rejections, the mathematical dismissals, the clinical approach to royal partnerships. Then she contrasted this with the human understanding of connection. Video evidence played across the holographic displays. Scenes of human couples from different backgrounds, different physical characteristics, united by mutual respect and emotional understanding. Each image challenged everything the Luminarian Council believed. The scientific data was compelling. Human partnerships showed higher long-term stability rates when measured by emotional intelligence rather than physical compatibility. Genetic diversity contributed to stronger offspring, not limited genetic matching. Our traditional selection process eliminates 78% of potential meaningful connections, Hayun revealed, her voice steady. The council members whispered among themselves. Some looked intrigued, others appeared defensive. Challenging thousands of years of tradition was no small feat. Jay presented additional evidence, psychological studies showing how emotional connection produced stronger social bonds, examples of human adaptability, of partnerships that survived incredible challenges. Physical size is irrelevant, he argued. Emotional understanding is the true measure of compatibility. The Crystalline Council member requested more data. Luminarian, culture valued scientific proof above emotional arguments. They wanted numbers, calculations, precise measurements. Hayun and Jay had prepared extensively. They presented complex algorithms demonstrating how emotional intelligence could be measured, quantified, and evaluated, speaking the Council's technical language. Their presentation challenged everything. It suggested that the Luminarian approach to partnerships was fundamentally limited, that their scientific precision was actually preventing meaningful connections. As the presentation concluded, an unexpected silence filled the chamber. The council members processed the information, their energy signatures shifting, a Luminarian, indicator of deep contemplation. The oldest council member spoke first. Your argument challenges our entire reproductive protocol, Jay responded carefully. It expands your understanding, not destroys, but evolves. Hayun stood proudly beside him. No longer the rejected princess, but a revolutionary thinker challenging galactic traditions. The chamber's atmosphere changed. What had begun as a potential dismissal was transforming into a serious scientific discussion. The council members began asking detailed questions, probing the research, challenging the conclusions. This was more than a personal presentation. This was a potential turning point for an entire civilization's approach to relationships. Outside, the chamber news networks began broadcasting fragments of the presentation. Across multiple star systems, other species watched with growing interest. A tiny Luminarian princess and a human captain were doing something unprecedented. They were rewriting the rules of galactic understanding. The universe listened. Tradition trembled. Change was coming. And at the center of it all stood Hayun and Jay, two individuals who dared to challenge everything everyone thought they knew about love, connection, and compatibility. The stars seemed to hold their breath. 6 months after the historic council presentation, everything had changed. The Luminarian civilization stood at the edge of a remarkable transformation. And it all started with Hyun and Jae. News networks across multiple star systems broadcast their unprecedented partnership. A human and a Luminarian royal, something that would have been impossible just a year earlier, was now becoming a symbol of interspecies understanding. The royal ceremony was unlike any previous Luminarian royal wedding. Traditional protocols were carefully reimagined. Instead of the usual clinical genetic matching ceremony, their union celebrated emotional connection. Jae wore a simple white uniform adapted to Luminarian cultural traditions. Hyun's royal attire shimmered with intricate designs that represented both her heritage and their unique journey. Her luminescent skin seemed to glow with an energy that went beyond biological parameters. Diplomatic representatives from hundreds of species attended. What had once seemed like a potential scandal was now viewed as a groundbreaking moment of galactic evolution. The Luminarian High Council, once the most rigid of traditional institutions, had gradually transformed. Their scientific approach now included emotional intelligence as a critical measurement. Research facilities across their civilization began studying human relationship models. Hyun's parents, once the most traditional of royal figures, now stood proudly beside the couple. Their initial resistance had transformed into complete support. They understood that their daughter had done something remarkable. She had expanded their entire civilization's understanding of connection. During the ceremony, Jae spoke words that would be remembered across multiple star systems. "Love is not about measuring perfect genetic parameters," he said. "It's about understanding, respect, and genuine connection." Luminarian scientists began developing new relationship assessment protocols. These weren't just about physical compatibility, but emotional intelligence, shared values, and mutual understanding. The transformation wasn't just political or scientific, it was deeply cultural. Younger Luminarians began questioning old traditions, seeing possibilities beyond rigid genetic matching. Hyun continued her royal duties, but now with a broader perspective. She became an ambassador not just for her civilization, but for a new way of understanding relationships across species. Their personal quarters on the Royal Space Station reflected their unique partnership. Human artwork mixed with Luminarian technological displays. Cultural artifacts from both their backgrounds created a space that represented true integration. News analysts called it the Luminarian Relationship Revolution. Academic institutions across multiple star systems studied their partnership, examining how two seemingly incompatible species found deep connection. The galaxy watched. What had begun as a rejected princess's journey had become a fundamental shift in understanding. Reproduction protocols changed. Emotional compatibility became as important as genetic matching. Species began understanding that connection wasn't about perfect measurements, but about genuine understanding. Jae continued his exploration work, but now with Hyun by his side. They weren't just partners. They were pioneers rewriting galactic relationship understanding. Their first child, a beautiful blend of human and Luminarian genetics, became a symbol of possibility. Medical experts were fascinated. The child demonstrated remarkable adaptive capabilities, a living testament to their revolutionary approach. The Luminarian royal family celebrated. What was once unimaginable was now their new reality. A human as a royal consort. A partnership based on emotional intelligence rather than clinical genetic calculations. During quiet moments, Hyun would sometimes reflect on her initial journey. The repeated rejections, the sense of being unwanted. Now she had transformed those painful experiences into a catalyst for change. Jae would hold her hand, understanding the depth of her journey. Their connection went beyond words, beyond species, beyond traditional understanding. The universe continued its mysterious dance. Stars moved, galaxies spun. And at the center of this vast cosmic ballet, Hyun and Jae represented something profound. The idea that love, true connection, transcends all boundaries. Their story was more than a personal journey. It was a message to the entire galaxy. Transformation. was possible. Understanding was powerful. Connection knew no limits.